hired an economic development person. That's their project.
I'm Sherry O'Kelly. I just wonder, is this too late? Because we have a petition, people have signed it. The only objection that I ever heard was, why should I sign it? It's too late. Is it too late?
You send that message, if they ignore you, you got another petition going. It's called a recall election.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I would do it, because that's the American way, that's democracy. If they ignore the will of the people, they should not be elected officials.
Stand up.
Yeah, sure. Your name, please?
My name is Jim Sasma.
Oh.
I reside in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a taxpayer and a citizen of this country. My bride and I live in Omaha. We have for many years. We rent a house from the county. It seems like our county commissioners are raising our rent constantly here because we got to pay more every year here in taxes. You know, I'm quite involved with a lot of things here in our fine community, but since I retired, I have the opportunity and the time to do that. Now, what really is mind-boggling to me is how many people out here are actually asleep. We have a lot of retired people in our communities and in the state of Nebraska. They must stay home and watch Dancing with the Stars and all the game shows and whatnot, because I only see like maybe half a dozen to a dozen guys of my vintage at some of these meetings. You know, but our elected officials just keep doing what they want to do, and there's nobody standing up and say, hey guys, they're questioning it. It doesn't exist out here. You can go down to the state legislature, same thing. Mikey here does a heck of a job down there, and but he's one of many standing up to this step. You can go to the city council meeting in Omaha, same charade again. Now look at the amount of people here tonight. Is this the entire population of this community? I don't think so. Just a little tiny handful. But you got to get more people involved in standing up and raising Cain about this here, because the guys in Lincoln passed laws, but like he said, you know, if you raise the speed limit on the interstate to 75, even there's no state troopers out there keeping people under the speed limit, they're going to do anything they want to do.
Did you have a question?
Yes. The TIF deal we had in Omaha, there's a lot of TIF used in Omaha. The deal in Fremont with the chick at Costco, that's abused something terribly. Now, my question, I guess it'd be to all of you. What are we going to do to put a stop to all this chaos out here? Pardon?
Yeah, they're working. They're building. Yeah.
Could you announce your name, please?
I'm Del Sarnes. Would a civil case be of any benefit? You know, go after some of the...
You would have to, I would mirror there's a case right now in Nebraska City on a grain elevator that was built 3 miles out of town, that was TIF'd. It's at the Supreme Court now. I would like to see how that comes out, but that case is more on the process than it is on the abuse of TIF. But then again, you're hiring lawyers, and I had a conversation with an individual, and every lawyer that knows TIF is already getting paid by developers and cities. So they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them.
So it'd be difficult to find an attorney, probably.
Yeah, I know of a couple of lawyers that might help, but that are morally believe in the rule of law. But yeah, it's going to have to come to that, and the Supreme Court's going to have to step up one of these days and rule. Well, they did in Fiskey, and I don't understand why they don't. There hasn't been any other cases. There's been a few, but they've always taken the process. Did they have the meetings? Did they send out? They're supposed to send a letter out to every other tax entity and say, we're going to TIF this. So what? The school can't stop them, but on the process. But I think it's coming to a head. Colorado got rid of it was abused so much that they got rid of the open fields here a couple years ago, changed their statute that you couldn't TIF open areas. We could do it here quickly. Come to the hearings. I'm going to have bills here. We need people to come to the hearings. Senators listen to citizens. When you hear about a hearing on a bill you like, we are very unique in Nebraska with a unicameral. Every single bill has a hearing in front of the second house, which is the citizens. And I've seen bills killed because the passion of the testifiers. But when I did my bills, I had the League of Municipalities and their lawyers, I had bond lawyers, I had developers, lawyers from developers come in and testify against it. Very few citizens showed up because you don't have a lobby. You are your lobby. So,
We have a question here. Senator Groene, can you announce your name?
My name is Ginger. The first papers that came out said that the houses were going to be affordable housing. Where is $250,000 or $300,000 homes affordable?
if you make 100,000, they're affordable. It depends on your definition. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't lower the price, it just widens the margin. No businessman in his right mind is going to say, I feel good because they paid $1.8 million in my cost, so therefore I'm going to lower the house. No, they're going to sell it at the free market price anybody's willing to pay. It just widens the profit margin.
Hi, I'm Barb Conley, and we try to ask the city council for answers. They're very evasive. One of the things that concerns us is the rising taxes, or if our sales tax is going to go up. Could you clarify, does that happen when a TIF is enacted?
What do you mean sales taxes
Will
going
our
up?
property taxes or sales taxes be increased because of it?
Your property taxes will, because somebody has to pay for that public. You bring more citizens into, Bob brought up the 75 students. Somebody's got to pay for that. Or the public, you have a policeman in. Somebody's got to pay his wages. He's going to be burning gas now driving them streets. Somebody's going to take a snowplow out there when it snows. Who's going to pay for that? Your taxes will go up. The property tax system is unique. It works really well. You get more people, more property, you get more property tax, you hire more police to match the citizens' growth, you hire more street workers. They're able to cover more streets, everybody's taxes go down. That's the way it's supposed to work. This is a huge hole in the lifeboat of the property taxes.
Hi, I'm Chris Gress. I just have a question. I don't live in the town of Ashland. I'm rural, so I really have no say with our city council. But what do we do now? What is our next step?
They haven't voted yet. You can hope, but I don't think they showed up here. You can take this packet down to them and ask them if they knew this. Ask them what the definition of blighted is. They're your elected officials. You should. You can call your county commissioners. You can call your NRD representative. You can ask them, have you called the city council and said your school board members, have you called anybody you know on the city council and say, we don't want to lose our tax base? We don't want you to take it? We're small communities. We talk to each other. They're listening to what one lawyer said. They've never researched any of this. They're living their lives.
Dave Nygren, and I have a real quick question. Where did the 6% come from that we're going to be paying from an interest standpoint on the bond?
Yeah, it's generally negotiated. It's pretty common. It's like Senator Groene had mentioned, it's 5 to 7%, somewhere in there, which is very typical.
Right. Part of the agreement?
I'm not sure if that's stated in the agreement specifically what the percentage is. It will be when they get to that point. So.
No, that just seems ridiculously high.
Yeah, I'm getting 0.25% on a CD at the bank, so I'd love to make 6%. Yeah, maybe we can get in on those bonds.
No, next week, I guess.
Ronnie.
Yeah, Ron Stiskel. My question is they refer to this as redevelopment and everything, and when there's nothing out there, how can they classify it as that? I would say it would be new development, not redevelopment.
I don't know how to say it, but I think one of our forefathers said democracy will work as long as the character of the citizens. If you don't follow, if you have citizens, we are starting to be ruled by the end justifies the means. That's where we're at in this country. Oh, it'll bring a bunch of jobs. What about the rule of law? Well, who cares? And I really don't understand this one here. I can understand somebody saying they're bringing jobs to community, but you're in a metro area. Those folks living there could be working in Lincoln. They could be working in Omaha, Sarpy County. You're not competing. This isn't high school anymore. You're not competing with Gretna and Elkhorn for anything. What you are creating here is a disaster. There will not be a housing development built anywhere in the state of Nebraska if we continue to do this without TIF. Why would you as a businessman? You can't compete with the guy down the road. Who cares if that housing development is built on the outskirts of Gretna or Elkhorn? You're not getting the property taxes for the next 5 to 15 years anyway, so why? I don't understand it. You don't have the lumber yard here to service it, the grocery store, but you know how mobile people are. Not a lecture.
Well, we try to limit it one
Yeah,
question
let's
per person.
let everybody
Does
else
anyone
talk.
else have a question? Oh, we got you once. Okay. Does anyone else have a question before? Because Nicole's asked the question already. Raise your hand. We covered a lot of ground already. Come on up.
Senator Groene, one of the things that we've heard quite a bit is that there might be a phase 2 to the development in terms of new businesses coming in, that the infrastructure will lay the groundwork for new businesses, such as a hotel, which some of us, I think that could be a viable option for this area. It could bring in additional sales tax and lodging tax, but yet nothing is on paper. So have you heard of like this phase 2 kind of planning with TIF? Any success
The
or
Menards
failures?
in North Platte was built in 06 or 07, and they got a big sign outside of it by Menards and says, lots for sale. They haven't sold a single one. You don't do tax policy on pie in the sky. If a hotel's coming, they're going to build it. Businesses do this. They do a study, and they find out the base, the customer base. If the customer base is there, they build. They do not build because somebody gave them $1 million of property taxes, which they can do, that most businesses of that size can do in a month's revenues. It's just gravy to them, the TIF. It's bottom dollar. Businesses build because there's a customer base, period. This TIF thing is being sold now on what we defeated in the legislature on, they wanted to do construction cost, private construction cost added. We beat that back with a filibuster. We're not winning this battle. We're still losing it. The lobby had enough votes, the bank and the developers, to almost get that passed. I will guarantee you the reason it's coming now, they were waiting to see if that bill would pass. And it wouldn't have been 5 to 7 years. It wouldn't have been $1.8 million. It would have been 10. Because they would have been able to throw all the construction cost on top of that $1.8 million of infrastructure come September 1st when the law would have went into effect. But we heard this Orwellian speech that if you build a house and the worker moves into it without a job, then the company will come and build because the worker's there. Have you ever heard of that theory? I got a degree in economics. That's a new one to me. I've moved 5 or 6 times in my family. I didn't care if I had to live in a trailer house. I moved for that job, and then we found a place to live. But the lobby wants it. Well, if you're a banker, I can't blame them. If you can get a 30% collateral, because you take 2.2 on your mill levy times 15 years, what is that, 33%? 33% of that cost over 15 years will be refunded back to them through their property taxes. That's a pretty good margin. It's business. I'm not criticizing them, but my job is to make sure I give good policy, not take lobby's money.
Any final questions for the senator? Yes. Is it a question or a statement? Okay.
Mikey, we have a deal here, item number 3. It says the city council is working on plans to approve almost $1.8 million in TIF financing to help pay for the Whitetail development, water, sewer, and roads. So why can't the people who reside in this fine community here go down there and protest this and say, hey, city council guys, we don't want this?
You don't know the history of these
We've been
folks
doing
have.
it for months.
These folks have. They got yard signs out. They got buttons they're wearing. They're showing up at city council meetings, which don't lecture these guys. They are doing it. That's why I'm here. But they invited me here.
City council is totally ignoring.
They've got stars in their eyes. It's one of the biggest things I get is an average person who couldn't run a Dairy Queen runs for city office or state legislature, and immediately they become venture capitalists with your tax dollars.
With other people's money.